What's going on, everyone? About 77% of the S&P 500 closed up in the green today, but as we could see by looking at today's heat map, it was definitely what we'll call interesting day as we saw some stocks like Nvidia, Netflix, and Tesla pretty deep in the red. But while this is happening, we are seeing a handful of other stocks rip to the upside, which we're definitely going to cover in today's video, along with some other key events that you'll want to keep on your radar for the week. We have a lot to cover, and we have some pretty awesome setups on the lineup. So besides that, Tom, let's not waste any time, and let's get right to it.
Yeah, and the SPY actually tried to push lower from open today, but it gapped up this morning and almost made a new all-time high. We're talking within like 11 cents of the recent high here, right around that $600.96 mark. I mean, we barely touched it. You can see our big supply zone overhead, and once SPY touched that resistance, it was game over. The sellers took control, and SPY ended up falling back under $5.99 and falling back down once again. But Mike, like we've been saying, it's going to be a short week. Don't forget, the market is closed Thursday. There will be an early close at 1 p.m. Eastern time on Friday. Don't forget that. I know there's going to be a lot of people in Discord Friday morning and Friday afternoon asking what's going on, and Thursday as well. And I'm going to be laughing. But nonetheless, that's fun, Mike. But we are getting into December, right? You know, we're getting into the season of the holidays, and there's some pretty good seasonal stats with December that I figured that we cover here like we normally do at the beginning of each and every month.
Exactly. So we like to keep everyone informed ahead of time, and we can see that historically speaking, December is normally a really strong month, especially when the market is up for the year. We could see by looking at this data here, in instances when the S&P 500 is up 20% or more year to date, Decembers tend to be especially strong. Where the past 10 times this happened, December was red only once, and it was down by 2.2%, where a lot of these other examples, we've seen Decembers as strong as 5.1% like we saw in 2003. So that's pretty interesting and exciting. And another thing that's pretty cool is that the average return for December in like situations where the market is already strong is around 2.4%. And when you compare that to just the average December of around a 1.5% return, it's definitely a really good sign. So I think we're set for a pretty exciting end to the year, Tom.
Yeah, definitely. And we even have some more stats to look at here that shows around 83.3% of the time we're seeing a higher December. So that's awesome there. And, you know, of course, 1.3% on this metric, which shows election years going back to 1950. And there's quite a few on here actually to look at. And December is one of the better months, that's for sure. So, hey, there's another one that definitely helps push that notion of having a nice green end to the year. And Mike, of course, a lot of people say that the holiday spending and different things like that help fuel this growth also. And it comes at a time where SPY is literally straddling the all-time high. So will we be seeing new highs? Will we be into the 600s in December? I sure hope so. But like I say sometimes, the stock market doesn't run on hopes and dreams.
True that. And we'll definitely dive deep into some SPY analysis as the video goes on. But let's talk about some of the craziest moving stocks in the market right now. One stock that's truly going nuts is ACHR. For those of you who watch the videos often, you know we've been hitting on this stock for a while now. And this thing has been going full rocket mode. Like, I've been looking for a pullback on this one, and it's just not pulling back. It was up another 23% today. And what excites me about this one more than anything else is that there were two big money trades on this one before this uptrend really strengthened. So I know people are just crushing it here.
Yeah, it was amazing. And something that was awesome today as well is that we actually saw more volume hit on ACHR today than we really have on the overall uptrend. Even whenever it had the good FAA regulation news from a few weeks ago and their earnings, there's really good volume hitting this one at the moment. And it's just continuing in such a strong way. That was a great move today, up to $7.50, almost $8. And in yesterday's video, I made a joke. I was like, oh my gosh, are we going to beat a $7 $7 or $7.50 tomorrow, and I was kind of kidding, but hey, it ended up happening nonetheless. But wow, I mean, that is the main thing I have to say, and we actually broke above a recent high with ACHR also, which was right around $7.50. So we're seeing a clear breakout there. I will say, though, we're not totally in the clear. Like I said, this $7.80 to $8 mark is definitely a pretty big area from the past where there was a rejection before, and it's right where we're straddling now. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah, and then there's also some resistance right around 9, and then even at $10 a share too. So just keep these like secondary resistance levels on watch. But ACHR has been one of the craziest moving stocks over the past couple of weeks, and it moves alongside with ticker symbol JOBY. Both of these companies are like in the same industry, and they've just been crushing it lately. So the more pressure these stocks put on their highs, the better and stronger the bullish momentum becomes. So definitely keep them on close watch for tomorrow. But another stock that has definitely been turning heads is HIMS. This company has been crushing it by itself, and their stock is doing very great as well. It actually broke all-time highs today, and it's running with some serious momentum. We can see the intraday price action was phenomenal, and it's moving in a crazy way, Tom.
Yeah, 23% today, and you look over the past few weeks and you're like, wow, this one has had a lot of good momentum too. I mean, it's no ACHR, don't get me wrong, but today it was pretty dang close. And you know, whenever we're looking here at HIMS, I'm actually seeing some good stuff coming in with Trump's FDA pick, which apparently he's on the board of a startup that's doing some stuff with weight loss drugs, which HIMS is very large into, as they are into many other things like hair loss and Viagra type things, as well, as many people like to say. But nonetheless, HIMS is going crazy, Mike. That's another stock on the list that has been blasting off lately. And I know that there's a few stocks out there that have been very popular and they're not really blasting off right now, which is MSTR, which has actually been in the red a little bit, down 4% today, and even Nvidia, which pulled back quite a bit, down 4% today as well. And you look at the daily on these stocks and you're like, wow, they're starting to turn over kind of hard right now.
I know, that's the thing, and I really hope people are starting to protect themselves because, you know, these stocks are very, very popular, like you said, and we are starting to see some meaningful profit taking come into play here. And what my concern is if we do see an acceleration of profit taking and maybe new shorts entering positions, that could, reverse the trend a bit. So these stocks will definitely be on the radar for tomorrow and the rest of the week because what they do next will be very, very important. Basically, if these stocks can hold this support strongly, they have a good shot at getting this dip bought up. But at the same time, if they do not hold support here, it can get pretty bad pretty quickly given how volatile these stocks are. So yeah, these stocks should be like some of the two most important stocks to keep on the radar.
Yeah, and I feel like with Nvidia's case, there's been some really good price action to the upside as it's been moving to make new highs recently. There's been some really good higher lows coming in, and we're starting to see that price action, continue in a great way. But at the moment now, with this candle today, we actually just kind of posted a, lower high this time, which is not the best thing to see. And we just had that big rejection off the 150 resistance as well. So I'm sitting here a little bit worried about what I'm seeing in the short term with this turnover and with that shift in the price action. Like you said, these supports are going to be very, very crucial. And even if we go look like at Bitcoin, we're starting to see a pretty clear rejection off of 100,000. I would bet that a lot of people now are wishing that they could take their votes away on it breaking out in November.
Yeah, bulls make money, bears make money, but pigs get slaughtered. Make sure you, are certainly more than happy to adjust with these trend changes as they happen. Don't give your gains back to the market. But Nvidia was a stock that is especially on my radar, and I saw a couple big Bookmap levels on this one as well.
Yeah, whenever you talk about Bookmap in the short term, 134 and 135 have been major. So I'm going to turn the volume off here so that we can see the supports just a little bit better at the bottom. But if we go to the hourly chart, you can tell how crucial this area has been and how many like bounces and just big touches that we've seen right around this spot. Whenever we go to Bookmap, you can see that 135 and 136 have a ton of shares lined up in the short term. At 135, there's 875,000 shares that were stacked up around the end of the day today. 136, there's 631,000. So those are two huge buy walls to keep on the radar for tomorrow. And if we had to go even lower, there's even 182,000 at 134. So between this range, I mean, that's one massive wall there.
Yeah, these are some brick walls lined up, and it's going to take a lot to get NVIDIA through that. But again, if it does break through these levels, it'll show that the selling pressure is serious. So I'm very excited to see how this one performs over these next couple of days, because again, it will be important. But on a different front, we did see some good updates with the Israel-Lebanon situation. So what's going on, Tom?
Yeah, it's pretty good to hear, right? Apparently, there's talks that there could be a ceasefire or a truce within the next 36 hours. So I thought that that was awesome to hear. But I guess the big thing is that they're saying there could be, right? That's the thing that I always see in these headlines. But nonetheless, I guess if you're having like Lebanese officials, or Lebanese sources will say that this could happen within 36 hours. That's definitely something that should be noted. So that's definitely big. If we do see this happen, it's definitely going to be something that is a bit bearish for the price of oil. We did actually see oil drop down a bit today. If we go over to crude oil's chart, especially right around market open today, we saw a pretty good dip. So that is one thing that's going to be on the radar, because this support that crude oil has been holding is very, very crucial. And if this ceasefire does happen, we do have to keep these oil stocks on the radar as well as their supports. But nonetheless, I thought it was pretty big news, especially if this does become official.
Yeah, so we shall see. Like they said, it should happen within the next 36 hours, so we will definitely stay on top of this news. But looking at some action for tomorrow, we do have an FOMC minutes event at 2 p.m. Eastern time, which definitely has the ability to shake up the markets a bit. So definitely keep this event on the schedule for tomorrow. It does have some volatility in store. And then, of course, we do have some important data set to release on Wednesday before open with the PCE data, personal income, personal spending, durable goods, and GDP growth rates. So that'll be exciting. And on top of that, Tom, we even have some earnings on the lineup.
Yeah, we do. They are coming to an end, though, as we've been saying, but there is ANF tomorrow morning, KSS, which is Kohl's, Best Buy, Macy's, which was even in the news today for getting about $150 million, and then DKS, Dick's Sporting Goods, on the radar tomorrow as well. So quite a bit. And then in after hours, I know CrowdStrike, Workday, and Dell will be watched by quite a few, maybe even HPQ as well. So quite a good lineup, I would say, for a slower earnings week, right? There's no NVIDIAs tomorrow, but there definitely is some big things going on. I would say the biggest thing to watch out for is really the FOMC minutes if we're talking about what will move the overall market, and of course, some bigger levels on SPY.
Sounds great. Well, speaking of SPY, Tom, what are the key levels and analysis for tomorrow?
Oh my gosh, I thought we were all going to get to cheer and dance up and down today, but nonetheless, the SPY rejected right at that all-time high. So like I said, the all-time high on SPY is like right around $600 and like 88 cents, $600.97 officially, I guess, up there at the top. So we'll just say 601. For tomorrow, if SPY still fails to break above 601, I'm not going to become overly bullish, especially with how it rejected today. There's a double top starting to form. So if we do see a rejection, I'm looking at the low of day today, right around 595 is a major support. If we start to break below that, I'll get a little bit more bearish and I'll watch 594, and then I'll watch for moves down to 592 and 590 as the next major supports. But the big thing is really seeing, are we seeing a clear rejection here or not? Hopefully we are, because if we are, we're going to see some great price action.
Yeah, so this level will be pretty critical. 601 is a key area of resistance, and SPY showed a lot of great strength with the gap up this morning, but it wasn't a great sign to see this relatively bearish price action from when SPY opened up until like the middle of the day. So SPY is in like a little bit of a chop zone right now, where it's very realistic that we could see a breakout if the bullish momentum stays strong, but at the same time, I'm not really too eager to just sit on the sidelines waiting to see if SPY can finally, get enough bullish momentum to break past all-time highs. I think it makes a lot more sense to focus on where the money is at right now, and a lot of the stocks that have been moving in the strongest way are the stocks that we covered earlier in the video, like stocks like ACHR, JOBY, HIMS, MSTR, and NVIDIA. So I would say those stocks are like really worth watching throughout the rest of the week.
Yeah, exactly. You don't have to necessarily force anything. I know a lot of people out there who force a lot of, I would say, low quality trades trying to trade SPY whenever you could go hold the Archer big money play and make 1,500% in 2 weeks. But I know everybody trades in different ways. But nonetheless, that is what I'm looking for with the SPY tomorrow, Mike. And I would say as far as a key support today, even intraday, this 596.50 area was pretty decent if you're like a scalper. If we do see a break there, you could maybe target like 595 if you're looking for like a really quick day trade there.
All right, sounds great. Well, let's get right into some setups and predictions then. A stock that is definitely on my radar is BABA. This stock has had a pretty good past couple of months, but it has definitely been in pullback mode over like the past month and a half or so. Today it had a great day as it popped up by 3%, but what I like more than anything else is that it showed good price action in pre-market, and a lot of sellers hit this one pretty hard right off the open, but the stock had like enough bullish strength to not only hold off that original sell-off right from open, but it actually moved higher and continued to break past its high of day as the day went on. I take this as like resilient buying pressure and, intense buying pressure at that, given how much the stock moved up and, just given the price action that we saw. On top of that, the stock has been in pullback mode for, a month and a half now, so it really has wiped out a lot of, I guess you could just say, over leveraged bulls, which is a good time for like new bulls to enter. So either way, BABA's on my bullish radar for like the next couple of trading days in a bullish way. I would love to see a breakback right above that like $86 area again.
Yeah, that would be huge. It just filled the gap from the other day and came right back to this big resistance. If we do break 86, I'll definitely watch it. It's been dipping a lot, and if this ends up being a decent support, we could see some decent price action back over the next couple days. With my first setup, I'm looking at American Airlines, which has also been kind of coming back pretty well off of a recent dip. Now, when I say a dip on this one, I should say more of a slowdown, right? Because this one didn't necessarily dip too much, but it does this pattern where it goes up in its staircases, okay? It's doing like a staircase pattern, and we're in this on the very first day of a breakout on the staircase. So for tomorrow, we're looking for a clean break back above $15, which isn't the high of day today, but that is a pretty big whole dollar resistance that people have been watching in the short term. So if we see a good break back above 15, I'll become more bullish. Now look for the high of day today to break again right around at 15.12. So that's what I'm looking for with AAL. There's been some good consistent momentum with this one. Again, it's not an Archer though. It's not moving like it's not having 20% days, but nice and consistent.
Sounds good. With my next one, you guys already know it is Archer, and it is definitely in a bullish way. This one has been going crazy, and the more pressure it puts on its highs, the better the setup becomes. We already listed the resistance levels overhead, some of the major ones being $8, $9, and $10, but there are some more micro levels in between that. So definitely keep that in mind, and I'm excited to see how this one progresses.
Yeah, ACHR, you can't say enough good things about this one. I'm sure people are kind of tired of hearing about it, except for the people that are holding it. They're not tired of, they're really not tired of hearing about it. I can say that. But with my next setup, I'm looking at one that we don't look at too often, and it's the fake meat. Beyond, BYND. Well, looking at them on the daily chart, they've been dipping quite a bit. They're one of the growth stocks that hasn't really been getting it going. You know, I would say quite the opposite, kind of making new recent lows. Well, they did find a pretty good base in the short term, and if they're able to break above the high of day from today, which is right around recent resistance as well at 5.35, then I'll be watching this one back to the upside. It did have a 7% move, and when it runs, it does have pretty good volatility. So I'll be watching Beyond Meat back up off of this dip that it's been on.
Alrighty, well, let's jump right into today's momentum plays then. And with the first one, we have Netflix to the downside.
Uh-oh, not looking good for Netflix in the short term. We got to check out that daily chart because Netflix has been on fire, but hey, when it rains, it pours, right? And today's the first day on a big pullback. So we're looking for a pullback below 864 for tomorrow.
All right, with the next one, we have Hims to the upside.
Yep, Hims on fire in the short term. If they break out above 31.80, keep watching them up.
All right, and then with the last one, we have Enphase to the upside as well.
Yeah, Enphase, we talked about this one yesterday. Did very well today, broke out great this morning. Tomorrow, if it breaks above 73, keep watching it up.
Sounds great. So we have Enphase and Hims on watch for potential upside plays tomorrow, if and only if they break above the levels listed. And then we have Netflix on watch for a downside play if it breaks below the level listed. Either way, these three stocks are on the radar for potential momentum style setups, where the stronger and more consistent these stocks move, the better these setups become. So definitely keep them on the radar. And as these stocks are volatile, be happy to flow and adjust with the trend changes. Don't get caught holding the bag. But besides that, let's jump right into today's $725,000 big money trade. And we are looking at ticker symbol FXI. So FXI, for those of you who don't know, is an ETF that follows Chinese stocks, and it has been doing pretty good over the past year, but just like we talked about with BABA earlier in today's video, it has been in pullback mode for about the past month and a half. Today, the big money is buying the dip with this one, as they bought the 30 strike call options that expire on June 20th of 2025. This is a $725,000 trade. For my advanced traders out there, understand that this is technically a call debit spread where they shorted the 34 strike calls. But either way, this is a bullish trade where they want the stock to go up. Looking at FXI, I like how the big money is strategically buying this dip at a point where the stock has been pulling back for some time right now, where it kind of like skews the reward to risk setup in a advantageous way. So looking at the stock, I'm excited to see how this one does. And I will say, if you decide to follow this one, understand that it will naturally take some time. These options have all the way out until June, which is a good thing. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah, June, that's a long way away whenever you think about it, right? All of this big movement on these China stocks has pretty much happened like since the middle of September. That's only just a couple of months, like two months ago. So we're talking, 7 months, 6 months worth of time to this. There's plenty of time here on this. There could be plenty of price action to happen. If there is still a short-term dip, don't be worried about any short-term volatility. We've seen a lot of good big money plays that required a bit of patience, like XOP, for example, where it was kind of chopping around for a little while before finally really breaking out, right? That's kind of a good example of a play like this, and I think with FXI having the time that it has, it does make it a little bit more safer to hold in that sense. Just understand, though, that you might need to hold through a little bit of fluctuation.
Yep, so keep a close eye on this one going forward. But before we go on, we want to give a giant shout out to today's member of the day, MP in the StockedUp trading floor, who posted some awesome profits with the Archer big money trades. Huge shout out to you, MP, and keep up the great work going forward. It was so awesome to see all of the gains from so many different people with this recent Archer action. So huge shout out to all of you guys. If you are into short-term trading, definitely make sure to check out that first link in the description and the comments down below. We were very, very early to this Archer Archer action with 2 big money plays. We called out some Archer 4-strike call options on October 22nd at around like $20 to $25 each. Those call options today traded for $395 each. So nearly a 20x there. That was one of the craziest big money plays that we've seen in a while. If you want first access to all of the big money trades, all of our custom bot trades, access to Tom and myself, our weekly live events, our private community, and basically everything else you could need for short-term trading. Check out that first link in the description in the comments down below. We have a great deal going on right now for Black Friday. Coupon code GRAVY100 gets you in at the best price possible for the stocked up trading floor. So definitely check that out. But besides that, thank you all so much for watching. It's great to see all of this action in the market right now, and I think we're set for a very exciting week. So besides that, thank you for watching, and let's crush it in the market tomorrow.